Shalom. I want to start giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for teaching of scriptures, among other things, and salutations to all the Akyam across the earth who are doing this work in sincerity and truth. And Shalom to the sincere brothers and sisters who are at home watching the videos and do their best to please Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai. So, yeah, man. So, I want to jump into this article, and it talks about that. In Hungary, they want to have this Pride, the Sodomy Festival on June 28th, but Viktor Orban, he said that it's not allowed. He basically forbid it. Told them that they are not allowed to have it. Also told them that they are not allowed to use the buildings from the government for any, for a flag or whatever. They are not allowed to put any symbols or anything on those buildings. And that's beautiful to see because a lot of these people from East Europe, if you, even if you look at Russia, Putin made it clear that the household is a man, a woman, and the children, and that's how it's supposed to be. That's how the Mosai had it planned from the beginning, But yeah, nevertheless, people love wickedness. For example, look at that. What's his name again? That number one high priest, Pegatron. I forgot his name, but he would fit in perfectly there, Mr. Packmaster. Most high priest, yeah, most high priest, Pegatron. But Orban, he says that yeah, basically he's against that party of the sodomy, of the sodomites, which is basically actually supposed to be his good right, but since they are part, Hungary is a part of Europe, they're already talking about such and such law that prohibited people from being discriminated because they are a minority, and if I look at our people, the so-called Negros, Latinos, and the so-called Indianos, we've been dealing with discriminations forever until this day. But nobody is willing to step in. Like the scripture said, who shall ask you how you doing? I believe it's in the book of Lamentations. Let me check real quick if I can find it. I think it's in chapter 2. Give me one moment. Let me see. Lamentations. Even kijken. No, I don't think I'm gonna find it like that. But the scripture said, none shall ask how you doing, basically. And that's part of the curses, nobody, none of these heathens, they care about it, Don't know, man. Give me a second, let me look it up. So yeah, the article was in Jeremiah. I was looking also some other things. But yeah, this is the scripture that I was looking for. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 15 and verse 5. For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem, or who shall bemoan thee, or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest? You see it? So that already shows you nobody care for us, That's yeah, but that's part of the curses. So they have these rules that so-called are made to protect our people, but meanwhile they don't use it for our people, but they are ready to use it for the sodomites, And this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 42 and verse 22. But this is a people robbed, so talking about the house of Israel, the children of Israel, the so-called Negros, Latinos, and the so-called Indianos, and those that go back to those people by the house of their father, But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none deliver it, for a spoil, and none say it, restore. You see that? So yeah, man. Like I said, it's part of our punishment. But yeah, that's what it is. So yeah, let me just jump in the article. So let me see. Hungary bans ABC symbols on government buildings ahead of Pride. There's nothing to prove. What does Scripture say about pride? Pride becomes before destruction. And this world needs to go, man. Because if these creatures are allowed to roam free like they are doing right now, they're gonna mess up all the children. They're gonna fuck everything up. Hungary has issued a decree banning the display of symbols referring to sexual minorities on public buildings, just as the Pride Festival kicks off in Budapest on Friday. So Budapest had it on Friday. You see that how they've been pushing it on all these things. Esau is really busy with pushing it because even here in Holland, one of the brothers posted a clip from Instagram where you have these Muslim people who are also sodomites. They have get-togethers for them, and like the end of the sugar fast, when they had their fasting going on, when they're having their fast, and when they break the fast, when it's done, they have the sugar fast, and they had the sugar fast especially for those with the sugar in the tent. So for those, yeah, for those sodomites. But yeah, man. Nationalist Prime Minister Viktor Orban. I really like this guy, man. Don't get me wrong, he's still a devil, but I like how he's always going against the decrees that they want to put on him, on his country from Europe. He been doing whatever he wants. Like in Europe, in the EU, for every period they had somebody. I don't know if it is for a month or whatever, that some country are basically the leader, and as soon as they put him in power, he went to Putin and talk about peace. And it was funny. They were saying like all these so-called leaders, these higher ups from Europe. They were like, yeah, he's not going in our name. They were not having it. So he went first to Putin, and then he went to what's that sodomite name again? The little man, the cross dresser from Ukraine. Zelensky. Yeah, that's his name. Yes, like yeah, took a slok, sip of water. So yeah, let me back to the article. So nationalist Prime Minister Viktor Orban has targeted the ABC Plus rights for years, and this year he went a step further by passing a law banning the march planned for June 28th. It's beautiful what he's doing, man. And that's exactly the scripture. Not saying that he is just, but he's an abomination to these men from Europe. And like I said, if you look at the west side of Europe, they are all about this wickedness. And the people from East Europe, they are not down with it, because I remember like Poland also, they also had a ban for it for a long time, but eventually they basically wanted to be part of Europe, so they took that law out of order, basically. So this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, and verse 27. An unjust man is an abomination to the just, and he that is upright in the way is an abomination to the wicked. And that's a fact. And like I said, I'm not saying that he's a just man, but by him not accepting this sodomy, and this is one of the biggest things that this Western Europe countries want the people to accept. They find it very important. which is very, very, very bullshit, man. So, so far the event has not been formally banned, and despite the legal uncertainty surrounding the event, organizers are busy preparing symbols that refer or refer to or promote different sexual and gender orientations may not be displayed on buildings linked to the government or the central bank. The decree published late Thursday night said it's a symbolic decision the Prime Minister's office acknowledged since such practices are not common anyway. This decree confirms the government's full determination to combat the ABC propaganda targeting children. Yeah, because that's exactly what they've been doing. There's a song you can look it up for yourself on YouTube where you see these sodomites. I believe it was in America. I don't remember exactly which city it was. And on March, and they were singing literally like they here and that they are queer and that they are coming for the children. How the fuck in your right mind are you gonna say something like that? That already shows you that you fucking wicked, man. Wicked pieces of shit, man. That's what these people are, man. So this degree confirms the government's full determination to combat LGBT whatever, man. ABC plus propaganda targeting children, whether in nursery, schools, the media, or in public spaces. It added in a statement, and they are so right, man. They are so right because that's what they do, man. Here in Holland, yeah, got the thing going on the elementary school. They got I was at a Purple Friday. They doing all this shit to sexualize the children, man, over here in Holland, man. They had Purple Friday. They got like so spring tinglings, like 1 week. That's also in elementary school and little children, They talk about sexuality and stuff like that, This is fucking bullshit, man. And then you also has used that program, a couple of days ago. Brother from the camp leader from Germany, he posted a clip of that video. You had this program here in Holland, but this I was investigating, checking out on it, but it's not coming on TV anymore. They stopped with it. A lot of people were against it. Also, you had children from elementary school. Also, they would go to that studio, and then you have grown as adult men, males. I don't want to call them men or women. The males and females, and they're gonna stand naked for the children, and children can ask them questions about their bodies. You see that fucking bullshit, man. That is that child groping on the spot. Getting children ready to that they were not gonna be afraid from naked adults. This fucking bullshit, man. Fucking filthy also. So like when they started with the program, I did a video on it in the Dutch language, and a lot of people saw it, because a lot of people were against it also. But yeah, and I was thinking about to do a video about it in the English, but the program is no longer being broadcast, so it's not really necessary. But yeah, so this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 3, and verse 9. They show off their countenance The show of their countenance does witness against him, and they declare their sin as Sodom, they hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. Yeah, but because eventually they're gonna pay for this, and they hide it not. That's so. At first, it was, for years it used to be like one day they would celebrate that shit. Then eventually they turn it into a week, and nowadays we have to deal with a whole month of this fucking sodomy. And it's funny, normally you don't really see them. Yeah, you see them, but they are not really in your face like that. But now they had that day. They be boldly looking at you. One of the brothers said, one was really checking him out, measuring him and looking at him like he want to do something. Hey, they be walking bold hand in hand, looking at you like you want to say something, you want to do something because it's their day, you know. The government give them their day, man. I'm waiting for their day when they're gonna be burned, man, with fire, brimstone and fire, like what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah and the five neighboring cities, you know. Those places were burned down, you know. People were burned standing and all that, you know. Let me see. This is the book of Second Peter, chapter 2 and verse 5. Let me start verse 4. For if Yahweh spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be uh, reserved unto judgment. And that's talking about the elect, you know, sent down to hell, to the earth, you know. And the chains of darkness is these bodies, you know. These bodies that keep on making you, letting you, make you do make the wrong decisions, you know, always fighting against the flesh. So verse 5, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. Because yeah, in the days of Noah, the whole planet got flooded, you know, water started falling from the sky and coming from beneath in the earth, and the Most High only saved 8 souls, talking about Noah and his wife, his 3 sons and their wives, and the animals that the Mosai had I said it, commanded him to put into the ark, you know. So everybody, man and beast, got drowned, man. Think about that. But you know, all these things, you know, and they found evidence of all these things that happened, you know, big events that happened and that which are written in the Bible, you know. They how you say that? There are many examples of it, you know, even like with the Red Sea, you know, when the children of Israel were led by Moses to leave Egypt, you know, going to the sea. You gotta imagine our people were walking on dry land. You know, the sea departed and the ground was dry. And when Pharaoh came with his soldiers, you know, the sea became one again. And until this day, they be finding pieces of those chariots on the bottom of the sea, you know. So verse 6, the book of Second Peter, chapter 2 and verse 6, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that after should live ungodly. And like I said, you know, you got, I remember a clip of an Edomite that went to Sodom and, you know, did some investigation there, you know, and he said like these things what happened is crazy. It have to be by divine I said it by divine power, and it's talking about the Most High, you know, Yahweh. Verse 7, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. Yeah, because Lot was the only one that got saved from there. You know, he was sick and tired of it. You know, he had no energy to deal with his devils. You know, yet 2 angels came to Lot, and as soon as the man saw those 2 angels going into the house of Lot, they came in his door and asking for those men. Lot told him like, I got my daughters, I can give you my daughters, you can do with him whatever please you. But they were asking for the men, you know, and Lot was like, man, how can y'all even ask that, you know? So yeah, man. So yeah, it's crazy, man. This world is backwards, but yeah, these things need to come to pass. You know, these people are also, how you said that, building up their iniquities. You know, so when Yahushua is gonna come back, they have no excuse and no reason for not receive the reward of their wickedness. You know. So yeah, man, I'm gonna leave it like that. So with that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Rakakadash. A double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for teaching scriptures, among other things, and salutations to all the Akyam across the earth who do this work in sincerity and truth, and shalom to the sincere brothers and sisters who are at home watching the videos and do the best to please Yahweh B'Hasham Yahushai. So yeah, man, with that, I'm going to say shalom.